I could not be more excited to share the next two individuals with you. I travel a lot, and so when my friends ask me where do I want to go on vacation, I normally say to my house, right? Because I am on the road all the time, and my maybe my exception to that would be I would want to go back to the bush in South Africa. If I were going to get up again on a vacation, I would want to make sure I head back here. And so the individuals you're going to meet today are two of the folks who are among my favorite hosts in the entire planet. They have hosted a recent experience that I had in South Africa, and I introduced them to you in the context of this recently released book, The Airbnb Way. In it, you will note we have a lot of information about being a host, and we talk about hosting as really delivering service with hospitality, and we broaden outside of the traditional hospitality arena. But these two individuals have spent their lives really creating hospitable experiences, and more than that, memorable experiences for guests. So I introduce them to you now. I just know them as Van and Esmeralda, but the last name is very Dutch, so I'll leave that to you to say it for the audience. Please introduce yourselves to the audience and tell us a little bit about how long each of you have been in the business of hosting people in a professional sense of hosting.
Yeah, so we started in England many moons ago. We've just always been together, traveling together. From England, came back to South Africa, started running a small little boutique lodge there. I think that's where our career really kicked off. We had a fantastic mentor, owner of the little retreat that we managed there. It was a country retreat, and from there we went to another conservation area where we managed our first 5-star property, very small 4-room place. After that, we went to Zambia, managed one of the most popular lodges probably in Zambia, in the lower Zambezi National Park in Zambia. Really amazing. That was our probably first proper bush thing that we did. And from there, we kind of like left the industry for a while, did a bit of construction in even more remote places, and came back to the industry in Tanzania, in the Serengeti, in the south, most past, most remote place you've ever seen in your life.
It was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, we just fell back in love with the bush and hosting and being with guests and just talking to people, and that's it. After Tanzania, we were going to stay, but we were blessed with our little boy, RJ. He's our life, and. Emotional because we waited so long for him, and then we moved back to South Africa so that he can be close to his grandparents and just
to hear that story. I mean, it seems like this has been your path. Whether what I gathered from Esmeralda just briefly in the breakup was some of you maybe started as an au pair and then did all kinds of other things to learn the trade that is it really is an art and a craft to be a host. I think certainly at your level. Can you give me any ideas about, from the mentorship, some of the types of things that you learned along the way about what it takes to do a great job of bringing people into this environment over and over and over again, and always making it special for that guest?
From my side, I would say, it's like I like to treat people the way I want to be treated. So I want every person to feel special, and I want every person to know that we care about them. So what we do is this is a lifestyle. It's not just a job. This is really your life. We live here, and
it's our home.
Yes, it's our home. So people come and they visit. They pay us. They pay a lot of money to get here, but they come here to visit a place,
South Africa, and the experience here.
Yeah, have a South African experience. Visit the people, get to know the people, and we are just so willing to share what we know and what we've experienced ourselves, and just talk to people and just chat to people, find out who they are, and they find out who we are, and they're in our home. They're our guests. I think that's the most important part. They're your guests. They're not your clients.
I might say that from the United States, given kind of where the monetary system is in South Africa, it really didn't feel like it was that expensive relative to many other travel experiences that I have. The value and the lasting nature of the experience makes it priceless. It really, truly does. So let's talk a little bit about where you are today, what what is this place we keep describing that is so fabulous, and how long you've been there, and what people might experience if they were to visit you at this rare earth property at this particularly special part of the world.
So basically, we are located in the Limpopo, which is about 2.5 to 3 hours drive from Johannesburg Airport, which makes it very easy and accessible to get to the reserve. The two properties that we manage is Ekutuleni Lodge and Twene Lodge, both operated by Rare Earth. And yeah, they're brilliant. We have 5 rooms at each property. We can accommodate 10 guests per lodge, and that is what makes it so exclusive, small, and intimate. And that's why it's also so important for us to be able to give that homey feeling to our guests.
Yeah. So the reserve's name is the Welgevonden Game Reserve, which basically means it was founded really well. In English translation. It was established many years ago. So it's been this lodge, Ekutuleni specifically, has been going for 33 years. The other lodge has been going for probably
7 or so.
Yeah, not so long,
sure.
But Welgevonden, it's a bunch of farmers got together, wanted to create a place where animals can roam freely and be natural as possible. And it's just a really incredible place to visit because it's really well managed. It's got a fantastic anti-poaching team. Sometimes you can go to Tanzania to experience the migration crossing with 40 to 60 vehicles in the background. Where you come to this place and it's just, I mean, there's a few cars on the road.
It's amazing.
It is really amazing. I can speak to it from the guest side of the experience. You know, one of the things I think about this is that it is a very personal experience, and yet it's well run. So, you know, sometimes when you talk about creating too much personalization, the whole thing falls apart because you can't run the operation. This was a lovely balance of having a cadence, a predictable flow of events, but still crafting this around what are you interested in experiencing. The food was exquisite, the accommodations were spectacular, and I think for me, not only was the reserve so well managed and there was such accessibility to animals, there was such a reverence between the entirety of the ecosystem, right? So, you know, in the Airbnb book, I talk about over tourism and how certain areas of the world do get, you know, this influx of tourists, and it almost ruins the experience for those who want to come and see it, right? You can see that sometimes in Rome, for example. And yet this place has this lovely balance of making sure the animals are taken care of and that the guests get a positive experience, and such respect. I'd love for you to just kind of give me a sense of what a day is like when you're on the other side of it, when you're having to get up early in the morning and make sure that that first drive goes well, and then breakfast is scheduled. Just give a little bit of the flow that the life of that the hosts have, and really how many, you know, how long are you on the reserve, and how does that differ maybe from the most remote reserves you used to live on?
Okay, so a normal daily program starts 1 week in advance. You obviously have to plan your logistics, get everything here. You know, we are remote. Closest town is 3.5 hours drive away from here. So from the moment the booking is made, you must know who's coming, what's the dietary requirements, what do they need, do they have walking disabilities, not, and you start planning for that specific guest's arrival. Once they arrive here, we brief our guests. This is the rules of our lodge and our reserve. Please, you know, ask us for anything you need or don't need, or how we can help. We're always there to assist at any time. There we give them the daily program, which is fantastic for this. We don't have a very complicated program. I always tell our guests it's basically eat, sleep, repeat. You know, you arrive here, you have lunch, game drive, go to bed, you're exhausted, and the next morning yeah, it's all about the guides, you know. The guides, they up even before we are up, getting coffee and things ready for our guests and going on a game drive. Once our guests are back, having that meal prepared, ready, warm food, have the chef in front. The chef needs to chat to the guests and make sure he understands what they need for breakfast. And then, you know, give people a little bit of a break. Then it's lunchtime. Then it's back to game drive and dinner. Um, yeah, it's just like, I think it's a lot of communication between, you know, guests and staff and management and guides and every person just being an expert in his or her department of knowing what to do and when to do it. And for us hosts or managers, just to support our guys, support our staff, and make sure they have the tools available to them to make sure our guest doesn't suffer.
Yeah.
I think that's the
they
most
they have
important thing.
what they need basically. But to get your question, we have been in Valgevonden for approximately 10 months now. Um, our previously we lived in Tanzania, and there we were for 2 years. So we said why we came back, but we were so happy and grateful to find this opportunity and this specific lodges to run. I think Rare Earth as a whole is a fantastic company to work for, because a happy staff is mainly what's going to make your guests happy. And it needs to filter through from the top basically. And yeah, I think that's the support that we get from the top, and we can offer it all the way down to our staff.
Yeah, and I must say, you both have very wonderful skills. I mean, I've been on a game drive with Van in the back of the exploring vehicle, and then most of our interactions would probably be with you, Esmeralda. And Esmeralda, I mean, it's just one of the most warm, kind, genuine, interested, very eager to share people you'll ever meet in the planet. So it was truly amazing to see each of your skills in play. I would also note that, you know, we had the great fortune of not being able to get to our room immediately one night because elephants were blocking the path between the main lodge and our accommodations. And I think that speaks to just how close you are to the animal. I mean, you're living in their world, really, and working around it. So unlike maybe, you know, the Ritz-Carlton, which is a hotel chain I wrote a book about, they typically don't have to worry about having to repair a wall that an elephant knocked over in the middle of the night. So there's a lot of
Yeah, that's very
complexity.
true.
That's a lot of complexity to your job. You know, I want to kind of get to the general sense of hosting and thinking about the opportunities you create for people. Because I know literally there was a time, and I don't think Esmeralda got to finish this answer, but when you were living out remotely, I mean, you would be gone for extended periods of time without any contact to anybody other than the guests. Now you have, you know, the ability to access family and other support. There are a lot of sacrifices that get made for this lifestyle, to use your word. Tell me a little bit about those days, and then maybe you can forward us ahead and think about, what do you think when a guest arrives, what is your real goal upon their arrival? So both tell me a little bit about your super remote, never got out of the bush sort of moments, and then bring us up to now, and help us understand what you try to create when guests arrive.
So from my side, basically living in the Serengeti, um, it felt to me, and it still does, and not that I am saying that Valgevonden doesn't provide the experience that each and every person will love, but the Serengeti was wild. It was raw. You're in the middle of absolutely nowhere. When you walk home, whilst the guest has gone to bed, you might run into lions, but not just yourself. Guests might have the same experience, and yeah, that happened many, many times. I think I had my share of that, and I don't know what I will do if I maybe see a deer. And it's not that it's impossible. It can happen here as well. It's the same type of bush, but I just felt there it was just so raw. Yeah, basically. And
And you would live there
your
for long periods of time, right? I mean, you guys would be away for great periods of time before you
oh
would
yeah,
circle back to family.
3 to 5 months at a time. And I always used to laugh so much because I mean we got a lot of American guests, more American guests living in Tanzania. And the ladies would always used to ask me, but how do you do it? How do you live without shopping for so long? And like if they saw my home at the end of the day, I had like a shelf and it was stacked for the amount of time that I was going to be away. I had my own little shopping place, to go to if I needed something.
Yeah, planning was probably at a premium. All right, so let me go to my question of a guest is about to arrive and just preparing for that and trying to create from the moment they arrive a mindset of an experience. What do you try to achieve upon arrival?
These are our guests. So first step first, make sure you know their names, who they are, what their allergies is, and you're prepared for that. So from the moment you receive your little warm welcome cloth, that welcome cloth smells nice. It's nice, it's warm, it's folded properly. It gets handed to you. Immediately, your guest starts relaxing. It's a long drive to get here. It's dusty, everything. You bring them upstairs, you welcome them, and you start talking to them. Give them a little quenching thirst welcome drink. Um, and then it's the most important thing is to put them at ease. Make sure they know they are safe in your hands, and they know they can ask you for anything. And it's just really to create a warm, hospitable, homey place where you can sit down, relax, be comfortable. If you want to sit and do your emails, do that. If you want to chat to someone, do that. If you want to
Lays next to the pool.
if you want to lie next to the pool and have a gin and tonic, do that. It's really do what you would do in your home, but you have us here to do things for you. And just like we just want people to relax. How's the picture? Like going to your rich auntie's house, and she cooks you the best biscuits and best meals that you have ever had in your life, and you just love going there, and you just always want to go there and go back and visit again. That's kind of like
You ultimately, and you said it earlier, you want to feel like you're at home, and we ultimately want to create a home away from home. That is our sole purpose. Yes, I don't think you go on holiday to go back home, but and sometimes it's a upgrade, from your own home or other like yeah. So basically, I think that's what we want to do. We just want to have people feel welcome.
So since I've been to South Africa, I've been to Singapore, I've been to Australia, I travel a bit. I have never done a blog or podcast about any host I've ever had in any location. Not that they haven't been wonderful, but you two are spectacular. And we'll make sure on the show notes that we have all of the contact information for the lodge so people can get in contact with you and book their own amazing experience with Esmeralda and Van. And the experience transcends, I did a blog coming out of South Africa about my time there and about Silas, who was our ranger, and just how incredible I felt he was at respecting the animals and respecting the guests and always positioning an experience that was sustainable for the animal world as well as memorable for the guest world. So I cannot, I hope you feel the love back you gave out in those days that we were there. We will return. There is no doubt about it. It is a place that, it's the kind of thing that you not only want to come to, but you want to tell your family about, you want to tell your friends about, you want to do a blog or podcast about. It's a particularly special part of the world with very special people nurturing it. So my blessings to you. Keep up incredible work. Those of you who are in the Airbnb way now or purchasing the Airbnb way, it's all about making sure that we deliver amazing experiences that are memorable and cause for craveable repeat performance. You really need to understand these to work on and experience them yourself. Any last words, any thoughts about your journey about the world of hosting, about the special lifestyle that you live?
We want you to be our guest, but as soon as you leave, we want you to leave as a friend. Yeah, that's it.
Esmeralda's mom has a thing with, she said, friends like family and family like friends. Arrive here as a guest, leave here as a friend, and that's it.
You're part of the family.
You're part of the group now.
I feel like I'm family. I'm ready to come and get my warm towel and my arrival drink, and for you to make sure that the elephant stays away from my property. All the information about how you can book your bush experience with these two great hosts you can find in the liner notes. And again, thanks to both Van and Esmeralda for Rare Earth and the amazing experiences they're creating, the Van Walden Reserve, and specifically these two lodges managed by them. Again, all the details you can find in the show notes. Again, thank you, Van. Thank you, Esmeralda. Go out there and take care of a guest, will you?
We will do that.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.